What an acquisition for Miami, bringing in Cam Ward.
The last 3 games decided by 4, 1, and 7 points for Miami. And Ward on first down, fires complete. It's a first down past the 45-yard line to the tight end Elijah Arroyo. Miami leads the country in scoring, total offense, plays of 20 yards or more. Another pass play from Ward, this time to Isaiah Horton, and he's already in Florida State territory after an 8-yard gain, stepping out at the 46.
And the one thing you're going to notice, the ball is going to find so many different targets. 4 receivers with 24 more catches. Horton has really been coming on. Elijah Arroyo, the talented tight end, already with the touch. Cam Ward sees the field so well and gets the ball to the open target.
It's actually 2nd down and 2 at the 46-yard line of Florida State. Play action pass. Ward setting up, taking a shot downfield, and overthrew an open man. Isaiah Horton had the defender beat. It'll bring up 3rd down and 2. Well, you look at Cam Ward's numbers through 7 games in comparison with the last 3 Heisman Trophy winners. Pretty darn good. He's accounted for 24 passing touchdowns, 27 total touchdowns. He's thrown for over 300 yards in every game this season. The first Miami quarterback ever to do that in each of the first 7 games. And think about it, Miami's had 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks previously. A one-time 0-star recruit coming out of high school about an hour south of Houston. Big run play between the tackles for Fletcher all the way down to about the 33-yard line. A gain of 13.
Well, excellent job by the center, Zach Carpenter. Big hole opens up in the middle, and the big 6'2", 225-pound back hits it downhill for a big gain.
Ward with a quick throw to the sideline, turning upfield and getting the first down is Sam Brown Jr. Coming off a 125-yard game and a win at Louisville last weekend.
Playing with a ton of confidence. He touched on with those numbers, his best game of the year, starting to really settle in to the Shannon Dawson offense.
From the 21-yard line, Ward throwing again, and Brown wide open again inside the 5-yard line and down to about the 2. Another chunk play makes it 1st and goal from the 4.
Well, they bring a corner blitz off the edge and quickly identified by Cam Ward. Safety doesn't roll over the top in time. Easy pitch and catch, and a nice job with the ball in his hands by Sam Brown.
What an opening drive by Miami, going right down the field on Florida State. Ward sidearms it incomplete, dropped the arm angle and tried to hit George, and a late flag is thrown. Azarie Thomas, the corner, going to get flagged for interference.
Pass interference, defense, number 8.
Get that right hand
result in automatic first down.
Trying to throw a quick slant, and Thomas going to get his right hand involved on the shoulder of Jacoby George. Going to draw the flag. There at the end, that late right hand gets the grab, the turn to the receiver, and draws the flag.
So 1st and goal, Miami. In 2.5 minutes, they've gone 65 yards and now trying to punch it in. Fletcher walks in, touchdown, Miami.
Wow, was that impressive? Did not take long. This offense firing on all cylinders under 3 minutes. They put it in the end zone. A lot on the arm of Cam Ward, and then with multiple tight ends in the game, power formation, they give it to the big back Fletcher.
That's his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. And the point after from Borregales. Miami strikes first. Miami strikes quickly and easily. And the Hurricanes, against their rivals Florida State, trying to keep their undefeated season going, lead at 7-0. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. From Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. The Miami Hurricanes trying to win their first ever ACC championship. Ray Lewis among many former Hurricane stars in attendance tonight. They have playoff and national championship fever. The last national title won by the U back in 2001. As we saw in that opening drive, they have the quarterback to do it. Cam Ward moved the Canes right down the field, and now Florida State will get an opportunity after the touchback. All kinds of issues at the quarterback position for FSU this season. DJ Uiagalelei started the season, struggled, had more picks than touchdowns, and then got hurt against SMU. So Brock Glenn, who started the ACC title game and won last year, lost the next 2 games against Clemson and Duke, and then in that game last week struggled, so they brought in Luke Kromenhoek for a couple series through 7 passes, and we'll likely see both Glenn and Kromenhoek here in the first half. And back to throw. Glenn facing pressure and just hoists it out of bounds. Pressure from Wesley Besaint on the redshirt freshman quarterback.
Well, they're going to attack and they're going to be aggressive. You're going to see Besaint. First, it's inside pressure by the defensive tackle, Simeon Barrow, just completely wreaks havoc. And then a late ad by Besaint. This Miami defense, they create a lot of negative plays and bring a ton of pressure.
Can Florida State get running back Lawrence Toafili going? He's a really good player, but they have been able to have success with him on the ground. There's some movement by Florida State, and flags go everywhere. So far, the start for the Noles looks all too familiar.
Offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, second down.
It's on Robert Scott Jr., the left tackle.
In this offensive line, they've had so many different combinations throughout the course of the season. And now today, Darius Washington out. Robert Scott starting at left tackle. And we already see the impact of that felt here on the second play of the game.
Worst 7-game start for Florida State since 1975. The offense near the bottom in just about every category. Scoring, rushing yards, total offense. And a 2nd and 15. Not what the Noles need. Getting off schedule, it's hard enough for them to move the ball. High snap, and Toafili off the right side, and gets back to the original line of scrimmage. A gain of a handful on the play, brought down by Darrell Porter Jr., the nickel.
Well,
And Florida State on 3rd down, tied for 130th out of 134 teams. We mentioned in just about every category this year, it's been a major struggle after Florida State was really good on offense with Jordan Travis a year ago, undefeated in the regular season before losing to Georgia in the bowl game. Glenn taking a shot, got a receiver, it's underthrown, and probably should have been picked off. Akeem Williams was trying to adjust to the ball and lost it, and then O.J. Frederick, true freshman, he didn't see it either, and it's 4th down.
Well, Brock Glenn stands strong in the pocket. He's got a little bit of pressure in his face, and he's going to take a shot down the field. A big, physical Akeem Williams. Williams just misjudges his jump on that day. He comes back to the football, comes back too much, and you're right. Fortunate that ball wasn't picked off.
Really would have been the same as a punt. Alex Mastromano, who leads the nation in punting average, will kick it deep to Ray Joseph. And Joseph backpedaling, fields it on his 19-yard line. And is up to the 25. Well, this is year 3 for Mario Cristobal back at his alma mater. His first 2 seasons, he was under 500. And last year, after 7-6 record, they had 4 of 5 losses to finish the year. They haven't won 10 games more than once since 03. That was back in 2017. But excellent recruiting classes, did well in the portal, and here they are at 7-0 for the first time since 2017. That year they started 10-0, lost in the ACC championship game. Cristobal went to Christopher Columbus High School here in Miami. Played at Miami, was a GA here, later an assistant coach, and then after a tenure at Oregon in his 3rd year as the head coach. Big hole again for Mark Fletcher Jr. between the tackles. Gain of 7 to the 32.
That's the one thing about this offense. Spend so much time talking about Cam Ward, the passing game. They want to run the football. Seen that physical running by Mark Fletcher here early.
And Fletcher again, this time wrapped up at the point of attack. Omar Graham Jr., who's from Fort Lauderdale, got a lot of players on this Florida State roster from the Miami-Fort Lauderdale area. It'll be 3rd and 1.
Can Florida State come up with a stop? They lean their hat on the defensive line. Joshua Farmer has been excellent on the interior of this front for Florida State throughout the course of this season. They could really use a stop here on this early 3rd down.
They've had some good moments on defense this year, but that wasn't one of them. Fletcher right through the Noles secondary out to the 48-yard line. That's a 14-yard gain on 3rd and 1.
And right off the right side, the interior of this offensive line for Miami's getting work done. Inez Cooper helps pave a path, and another big hole for Mark Fletcher.
Look, Miami's offense has been outstanding all year, but it feels like there's an extra pep in their step tonight going up against their arch rivals. Cristobal, since he took over, has not beaten Florida State, and they were blown out 2 years ago here by the Noles. Ward with a quick throw on a wide receiver screen to Horton, and Florida State was all over that with Blake Nicholson on the takedown. That's a negative play. Loss of a yard.
And when we talked to Mario Cristobal yesterday, you could tell this rivalry, it hits different with him. It is special. We asked him what this rivalry meant to him. He paused for about 30 seconds, and then he gave a very passionate, spirited explanation as to what exactly this means. And physicality and intensity were at the top of his list.
He also compared it to Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. 2 pro wrestlers from the 80s and 90s. That's why it's very fitting, because that's when this rivalry was in its heyday. 2nd and 11. Ward stepping up, hit and sacked. He's been sacked 9 times in the last 3 games. And the Noles defense gets there. Omar Graham Jr. So back-to-back negative plays for Miami.
Omar Graham's going to come in, little cross stunt. Defensive tackle is going to work out to the B gap, opens the A gap up. Nice job navigating by Omar Graham and getting a much-needed sack, setting up 3rd and long. Adam Fuller said they're going to be aggressive and come after Cam Ward throughout the course of this evening. No safeties up top.
Florida State coming after Ward, in trouble. Wallop back at the 28-yard line. Big hit by Edwin Joseph. So finally, Florida State shows a little life with 3 straight negative plays.
Well, they sold out to come after this. A lot of bodies at the line of scrimmage. They're going to bring 7. No one able to account for Edwin Joseph. Also Marvin Jones Jr. able to get some pressure, and right on cue, Adam Fuller being aggressive, coming after Cam Ward with a couple of key sacks.
Dylan Joyce has punted just 12 times in 7 games this season. Gets rid of that one. LaWayne McCoy waiting for it, and he gets hit. Maybe friendly fire. Joseph got blocked into him. 40-yard punt, and nothing on the return. Bobby Washington down there, the gunner for Miami.
Well, it's a rivalry of intensity, of physicality. Big hits coming with the Canes up here early.
ESPN College Football Prime Time is presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 1 loyalty program. Download the app. And in part by Mercedes-Benz.
And thanks to our friend Daniel Kotze for lighting up the 60-story Paramount Miami World Center Tower in downtown Miami. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor back at Hard Rock Stadium Florida State's defense came alive. Let's see if the offense can provide a punch. Glenn on the rollout, looking for the throwback, in trouble, steps away from pressure and keeps the play alive and actually gets positive yardage, scooting out of bounds at the 28. Let's check in with Taylor.
That is exactly what Florida State wants to see. They want to be able to run the football more efficiently. As you mentioned, 130th in the FBS in rushing coming into this game. And bad news for them, their second leading rusher, Cam Davis, is out for this game. So look for Sam Singleton Jr. to step up. And as you mentioned, some injuries as well on the offensive line. Darius Washington is unavailable, and I was on the sideline for Florida State already trying to massage some things out when it comes to that offensive line, guys.
And here's a quick throw on a wide receiver screen and a first down for Malik Benson. So the first down of the game for FSU.
With good perimeter blocking on the outside. And this Miami defense has struggled to tackle the last couple of games. Talking with their defensive coordinator, Lance Guidry. It's been a big point of emphasis. Nice job by Benson catching that pass and getting up the field quickly, and a nice pickup after the catch.
One of the differences between Florida State from last year and this year, not just the quarterback, they don't have the receiving corps they did a year ago. And a run to a Philly, and he gets stuffed at the 39-yard line, a yard or two. Wesley Besaint in there again on the hit. As good as Miami's offense has been, the defense has been just as good in a lot of ways. 8th in the country in rush defense, but they've allowed 34 points or more in 3 straight games. First time in 11 years. Had to come back from 25 down to beat Cal a couple weeks ago. They're getting it out of Glenn's hand quickly on a lot of these wide receiver screens. Here's true freshman LaWayne McCoy, close to a first down at the 47.
Was a long throw outside to McCoy, and they want to start to give opportunities to some of these young, inexperienced, talented freshmen. They've had issues with drops at wide receiver. Mike Norvell told us, hey, we're going to give McCoy, Moore, Gibson, some of these young guys opportunities because some of the veterans haven't made the most of it. Nice job by McCoy. First touch of the season, and he picks up a first down.
Year 5 for Mike Norvell. Won a lot of National Coach of the Year awards a year ago, but a 1-6 record in 2024. Last 3 games lost by a possession or less. And that pass off target again, trying to set up the screen. This time B.J. Gibson, the intended target. He's barely played, so you wonder as you watch that play, maybe that was on him rather than on the quarterback.
That's just a little bit behind his intended target, not able to connect and get the ball to freshman out in the flats. Continue to see them try to just get the ball in playmakers' hands out in space. They're do a lot of different things in the screen game. We're seeing that with the receivers, also running back screens, and getting Toafili the ball out in space will be a key here tonight.
Well, here we go with a wildcat. They line up Glenn wide to the left to put Toafili in at quarterback, and Ja'Kai Douglas in the backfield as well. See who they direct snap it to. And now a timeout called by Florida State. Play clock was winding down. Well, when you think of this great rivalry, which started back in 1951, the picture on the right says it all. The toe meeting the football, because 6 games in this series have been decided by kicks, including wide right 1, wide right 2, wide left, wide right 3 back in 2000, a missed extra point in 2016. Always been a physical rivalry. No extracurricular activities pregame, though, here tonight.
Everybody was on their best behavior, but man, growing up, it did not get any better than Florida State Miami.
2nd and 10, Florida State near midfield for the first time. Glenn in the pistol, and he'll throw it. Steps up, in trouble, backing up, gets out of there again, and is able to once again get positive yardage. Jaden Harris chasing him around, and Brock Glenn may be more athletic than many thought.
Boy, it's the 2nd time. He's just avoided disaster, and he avoids Jaden Harris, who takes a poor angle, allows Brock Glenn to get outside just to set up 3rd and manageable. Ja'Kai Douglas, typically the 3rd down target for this Florida State offense. Trying to find him.
Glenn from the pocket, batted up in the air and incomplete. Nearly picked off on the redirection by Jaden Harris. It'll be 4th and 7, and Florida State will punt it away.
With tight coverage on this throw as that ball gets dislodged and knocked up into the air. Tough to tell if that hit was a little bit early. It was tight right as the ball arrived.
Oh, yeah. You're right, Dusty. Looked like they missed pass interference.
Looked like it got there before the football arrived.
Ray Joseph is back. Astromono punting for the 2nd time. Trying to pin the Canes deep. And Florida State's got 3 guys down there as that ball checks up and will be down inside the 5. 45-yard punt. Time now for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. So Cam Ward in the Heisman conversation. Miami has had 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks. Can you name them? One of them is here tonight down on the field.
We saw him earlier, yes.
So do you know the answer? The other, I'll give you another.
I do know the answer.
You do, okay.
The other was the last first-round pick at quarterback.
Correct.
The Miami Hurricanes.
Back in 1987. Cam Ward, number 2 on Mel Kiper's quarterback board behind Shedeur Sanders, who you'll see next on ESPN. Colorado and Cincinnati following us. So Miami backed up inside its 5-yard line. And the Canes will keep it on the ground, and a ton of room straight ahead for Martinez. The Oregon State transfer, who rushed for almost 1,200 yards a year ago, picks up 14.
Well, inside, Zach Carpenter is having himself a ball game. He's getting a little kick out here, and there's a massive hole right up the middle. Inez Cooper.
Meanwhile, Martinez, a flag comes in as Martinez gets belted that time by Earl Little Jr. Was able to bounce off of him for about 4 yards.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 24. 15-yard penalty, first down.
KJ Kirkland called for the face mask. At least that's the number that referee Jerry Magallanes called out. Number 24.
Florida State cannot afford penalties, mistakes. Costly. You just had Miami backed up all the way inside their own 5, and in a matter of moments all the way out almost to the 40.
Cam Ward directing traffic, trying to get everybody lined up with a play clock at 3. They snap it in time and run Martinez, trying to find a hole, and he does. Great patience by Martinez. Out to the 43 for about 4 yards.
Really is a good 1-2 punch. We've seen Mark Fletcher here early, and then Damian Martinez, he was the addition from Oregon State. Bigger, more physical back, typically with his physicality. Last week he was dragging folks into the end zone. Now we're seeing some vision and some shiftiness on that first down run.
Meanwhile, Cam Ward 5 of 6 passing, been sacked twice. Martinez again. Positive yardage. But Florida State will take that. That's a win based on how the defense has looked so far. Just a gain of 3 on the play. So 3rd down coming up. 3rd about 5 here for the Hurricanes. 2.5 to go in the first. 4-man rush. Ward fires to the sideline. Incomplete. Rushed that throw to Horton. Maybe felt the pressure to his left, and it's 4th down. The Miami offense staying on the field. There is a penalty marker down.
Illegal substitution, defense.
Wow.
More than 11 players on the field. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Yeah, this was, and Cam Ward saw it. He recognized it's why it went so fast. Is he caught Florida State in a line change, multiple defensive linemen running out. You see right there at the top of your screen. They snapped the football, especially when Daryl Jackson's still on the field. Miami doesn't change personnel. You've got to be very smart about when you're going to try to change personnel, because Cam Ward, the way he can operate, run this offense, he can snap it quick. Another mistake on this drive of this Florida State defense.
Ward will hand it off again. This time it's Fletcher. Up the gut for about 4. Boy, they are running right at the teeth of that Florida State defense. And it's not like the Seminoles don't have some talent on that defensive line, but unable to get off blocks here in the first quarter.
I would say it's the strength of this defense. Joshua Farmer, Darrell Jackson, Daniel Lyons has really stepped up and played well as of late, but they're not shying away whatsoever. This Florida State run defense has struggled throughout the course of the year with run fits, and with Miami going right at them.
Ward gets rid of it quickly. Restrepo, his first touch. He's to the 42. That's catch number 40 on the year. Leads the ACC in receiving yards, 2 straight 100-yard games. Third down coming up.
Surprised it's taken this long for us to call Restrepo's name. He is the go-to guy in this offense. Cam Ward loves to spread it around, but if this team gets into a spot and we have a situation tonight, third down, crucial spot, locate number 7. Cam Ward has such trust and comfort with him at wide receiver.
Ward on 3rd and 3, hands it off. And close to the first down is Martinez. Appears to have it at the 39-yard line. Boy, at some point that's got to be demoralizing. 3rd and 3, they're just running a simple handoff between the tackles and the defense can't stop it.
Yeah, no penetration, not changing the line of scrimmage. Another first down.
Miami goes quickly. Ward off play action, looking, waiting, stepping up, being chased. Flags are down, and Ward will just step out of play. Joshua Farmer, guy you mentioned a moment ago, he was in the backfield.
Holding offense number 73. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
It's on Cooper, the right guard. Well, the next stop on the F1 schedule is the Mexico City Grand Prix tomorrow afternoon, 4 p.m. on ABC. Our pre-race coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern Time. Got an injured Seminole. It's DeMarco Ward, backup linebacker. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor here in Miami on a beautiful night. Temperature around 80 degrees at kickoff. Miami trying to go to 8-0. Duke comes here next week. This is actually the first home game for Miami since they beat Virginia Tech in that controversial finish when on a Hail Mary was ruled a touchdown initially for the Hokies, but then replay overturned that. Miami won the game and then won the next 2 against Cal and then last week at Louisville.
It's been a wild ride these last 3 games for Miami. Obviously that Virginia Tech one most notable, but then down 25 on the road at Cal, and they come back on the arm of Cam Ward. Just an unbelievable comeback there on the road. And then last week a shootout against Louisville on the road after the bye week. Louisville stepped their game up and really took everything that this offense had, poured in 52 points, and we see this offense so far here early in this ball game pick up right where it's left off.
But a penalty for a hold makes it 1st and 20 at the Florida State 49. Miami does not have to snap the ball, but they will in the final seconds of the first quarter. And on a wide receiver screen in traffic, it's incomplete. Trying to hit Lofton.
Well, nice job by Omar Graham. Watch him here. Follow the screen right inside. Man-to-man coverage, and he stays with the true freshman, Elijah Lofton, right in the hip pocket. He's had a sack early in this game and a nice pass breakup on first down.
See the numbers for Ward so far on the season. About 70% completion rate, leads the country in passing yards, tied for first in touchdown passes. Pressure off the edge for Florida State. Ward rolling away from it, being chased, and just throws it downfield out of bounds. Omar Graham Jr., who's been in the backfield a bunch. They will have to run one more play here at the end of the quarter.
It's good coverage down the field, as Cam Ward does so often. A little blimp shot here on the man-to-man coverage down the field. And this is an area that Adam Fuller said he felt good about his secondary. He trusts his guys in man-to-man coverage, dials up the pressure, and Cam Ward, like he does, he floats back, but Nobody comes open. Now 3rd and super long here for Miami.
Empty set for Ward. They'll spread it out with 5 wide. Florida State's been able to get to Ward. Let's see if they come after him again. They rush 5. Ward from the pocket throws underneath. My goodness, wide open is Martinez, and he picks up a first down on 3rd down and 20. He gets 22 yards. So a breakdown by Florida State on 3rd down and 20, and the Hurricanes keep the drive alive, leading 7-0 after 1. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear, celebrating the challenge of road games everywhere. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Miami possessing the ball for 11 minutes on offense and holding Florida State to just 29 first quarter yards, but it's only 7-0 Hurricanes. They just converted a 3rd down and 20 and are at the 28 of FSU. Heisman Trophy favorite Cam Ward off to a solid start so far. But Miami's rush offense has been the biggest reason they've dominated early on. A big play there for Martinez about 10 moments ago. Taylor spoke with Florida State coach Mike Norvell.
Coach, I just saw you talking to your defense. What did you tell them?
We had a miscommunication there on the 3rd and long, which gave them the ball in space. They were able to convert. We just got to make sure we settle down, have our communication, trust our calls, and then be able to go out there and execute.
Thank you. Dave?
All right, Taylor, we'll see if they can get a stop here. Play 13 of the drive. It's taken about 4.5 minutes. Ward pulls it back, now throws for the end zone and overshoots the receiver, Jacoby George, with Fentrell Cypress, 6th-year player, in coverage.
Boy, Fentrell Cypress in perfect position down the field, step for step with Jacoby George. Tries the double move. Cypress not biting. Nice job on 1st down. We're going back to that 3rd and 20. Just demoralizing to give up a 3rd down of that magnitude. They went soft zone coverage. Had a lot of success in man-to-man situations. We'll see if Fuller stays in that now inside the red zone.
Run play on 2nd and 10. Martinez breaks a tackle inside the 10. Martinez into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. Seventh rushing touchdown for Damian Martinez on the season, 6th in the last 4 games. That was a 14-play, 95-yard drive. And as Dusty mentioned, the big play, the 3rd and 20, that kept the possession alive. Borregales on for the point after. 14-0 Miami.
Well, the physicality from Damian Martinez, we discussed it earlier, but how about this block by 9th-year senior Cam McCormick? He's going to get a little yo-yo action. He's going to come back and have an excellent block on the edge on Marvin Jones Jr. Not much of a hole. And then Shaheed Brown just doesn't bring enough to the table as the 230-pound Damian Martinez runs right through that contact as he strolls into the end zone to put the Canes up 14.
You mentioned Cam McCormick being in his 9th year. He's 26 years old. He was at Oregon for 7 years. Mario Cristobal was the head coach there, obviously, for part of that. McCormick missed 3 straight years due to injury. And Mario, an old offensive lineman, has to like what that group up front has done. They have owned the line of scrimmage so far in this ball game.
And I thought they ran the football as effectively in the 2nd half against Louisville a week ago as they have all year. And it was the guys up front and the running backs running with physicality. And that spilled over to tonight.
Taken on the goal line by Singleton. hit at the 20. And then they finally get him down at about the 22-yard line. All right, time now to answer our Aflac trivia question. Miami has had 2 quarterbacks win the Heisman Trophy. The answer is
Testaverde, Toretta.
You are correct. You are correct. And as you said, Vinny Testaverde, the last Miami quarterback to be drafted in the first round. Cam Ward expected to be maybe the first quarterback taken. Shedeur Sanders right now ahead of him. Gino Toretta here tonight, along with many longtime Hurricanes who are back to watch their team try to stay unbeaten. Direct snap here to Ja'Kai Douglas, and Miami's defense all over it. Simeon Barrow Jr. with the tackle. Florida State's made a change at quarterback, and we're not talking about that last play. Ja'Kai Douglas. Luke Kromenhoek has come in for this series at quarterback. He played a little bit against Duke through 7 passes. He's barely played quarterback in his career. In fact, he was a defensive player, played a little wide receiver for his first couple years of high school. He's a true freshman, went to a military school in Savannah, Georgia before coming to FSU. On 2nd and 10, Kromenhoek will throw off play action and taking a shot downfield in double coverage. Well overthrown. Trying to hit Malik Benson. Here's Taylor.
He came to quarterback here today.
And we're having an audio issue with Taylor's mic. You look at Kromenhoek. We mentioned early on in his career was a defensive back. His dad John played college football, was a defensive end himself at UMass. And now Kromenhoek in just his 2nd career game at age 19, faced with a 3rd down and 10. Kromenhoek steps up, takes off, nice cut. And a much needed first down, sliding out past the 35-yard line.
Boy, what a play by the true freshman, Kromenhoek. And they're sitting back in zone coverage. That eyeball is on the quarterback. He puts his right foot in the ground, changes directions, and leaves Maui Noah. Big time 3rd down conversion by Kromenhoek.
Yeah, picked up 14 on 3rd and 10. Keziah Holmes in the game at running back. Cam Davis, as Taylor reported earlier, out due to injury. He's their number 2 tailback. And a design run for Kromenhoek, and he gets walloped. About a yard downfield, Simeon Barrow Jr. with the big hit.
Well, Simeon Barrow Jr. has been excellent the last several games, and he's had a big impact here in this game already. The Michigan State transfer is extremely productive here these last several weeks. Got some twitch to him, powerful, and making an impact in the interior of that defensive line.
Another pass play. Kromenhoek setting up and firing complete short of the sticks to Malik Benson. He's able to fight off a tackler initially and get about 7 yards, but it will bring up a 3rd down.
Well, good confident throw on the in cut from Malik Benson. Good velocity behind that pass. Good confident throw. Setting up 3rd and very manageable for Florida State.
Boy, it feels like a must-convert situation here for Florida State. A 1-16. The only victory, 14-9 over Cal. And they're going to run it. Kromenhoek fell down. The pitch was off the mark, and Holmes is tackled short of the line to gain. It's going to be 4th and 1. See if Mike Norvell keeps the offense on the field here.
Disaster from the get-go. Kromenhoek gets stepped on. He falls down. Pitch mishandled initially there by Holmes. And I know you're on your side of the field, Dave, but I think you got to go for it right here. You need a spark. You need something to try to ignite this football team.
Kromenhoek did not look like he was ready for the snap, but he somehow breaks free. How did he get out of there? Inside the 30, inside the 20, and stumbles inside the 15-yard line. The whistle never blew. A lot of players just stopped. Initially, it looked like he didn't expect the snap. Ends up in a run of over 40 yards.
Watch 28 Singleton behind him do a great job just continuing to push. And Kromenhoek just keeps the legs churning, keeps the legs churning. Huge pickup. And a play that I think Miami defenders thought was over.
And that's their longest run of the season. The previous long was on a fake punt by a tight end. Inside the 15-yard line, can they pay it off now with a touchdown? Kromenhoek rolling out, gonna tuck it inside the 10. Kromenhoek thrown down. Boy, looked like that was a tackle upstairs that time by Tyler Barron, but did not get a hold of the face mask. It will be first and goal.
Well, he's going to run the boot, and no one there on the perimeter on the edge accounting for the quarterback as Kromenhoek makes his second big chunk run of this drive. Make it third. Remember the third down run he made on 3rd and 10? Pick up the first down, the 4th down run, and here they are now knocking on the door to get back in this ballgame.
Play clock winding down. Toa Philly back in at running back. He'll get the carry and tries to power his way across, but met at the line of scrimmage. Maui Noah with the hit for Miami.
With physicality down there at the line of scrimmage. Pads popping around the goal line. Close, but Toa Philly unable to edge the nose of that football over the goal line.
Jalen Alderman also in there. Now it's 2nd and goal. The true freshman Luke Kromenhoek providing a spark with his legs on this drive. Trying to punch it in. Little push from behind to the quarterback, and Kromenhoek looks short. Samuel Singleton Jr. just came in to push the quarterback forward. He didn't get in.
Worked last time, not going to work this time on 2nd down. See the Miami front submarine get lower than Florida State, just create a big pile, and nowhere for Kromenhoek to go on 2nd down. I'm surprised Toa Philly not in this ballgame right now.
High snap. Kromenhoek keeps it and comes up short. Tackled at the 1-yard line by Reuben Bain Jr. Boy, that was a bullet from the center, Maurice Smith. Kromenhoek did well to not fumble it.
When Kromenhoek, you're going to see, goes down, tries to reach the ball over after the fact. But a good spot in a 4th down situation.
Right decision here.
They have to go for it. There's no question.
Kromenhoek pitches it and into the end zone for the touchdown, Keziah Holmes. Big time response by the true freshman quarterback, leading them down the field, and Holmes hang it off on 4th down and goal from the 1.
Which little short toss had a bunch set over there. It's a key block by Brian Courtney. And Holmes, the bigger back. An excellent kick out block by Brian Courtney. Opens up that hole, and Holmes gets into the end zone and gets the Noles back in this ballgame.
12-play, 78-yard drive that took up 7.5 minutes. Ryan Fitzgerald on for the point after. That was just his 9th extra point attempt this year. It tells you how bad the offense has been, but maybe finally they found something. Even if by accident on that long run by Kromenhoek, Holmes does the rest on 4th down.
So tonight, let's have some fun. Until the moon turns into the sun.
All right, Dusty, take us through our drive recap covered by Geico.
Boy, a crucial touchdown response by Florida State. It was all with the true freshman Luke Kromenhoek in his legs. A 3rd and 10 conversion. They had to get this 4th and 1. I think Miami might have thought it was over. The young freshman quarterback did not. A big chunk run. He also picks up a big play on a boot. He had 69 yards on the ground on that drive, and they cap it off with a toss into the boundary for Holmes, cashing in at a much-needed Florida State touchdown.
You look at the last drive compared to the first two. We'll see if Mike Norvell stays with Kromenhoek or goes back to Glenn. The plan was to go back to Glenn, but we'll see after that. Chris Johnson Jr. on the kick return. Good coverage by Florida State. Flags are down. Johnson still going and gets hammered at the 25. Not surprisingly, a lot of hard hitting in this ball game. The pads popping down on the field. You can hear it up here. Omar Graham with a big hit that time. This should come back.
During the return, personal foul, illegal blindside block, receiving team, number 84. Half the distance to the goal, penalty, first down Miami, timeout.
So that was on Cam McCormick of Miami. 6:36 to go in the half. 14-7 Hurricanes.
ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts, is brought to you by Coca-Cola Zero Sugar.
Homecoming weekend for Miami, Florida State, the 69th all-time meeting. The Hurricanes won 35 of the previous 68 meetings. Our aerial coverage is provided by Goodyear, road tested and game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Dave Pasch, Dusty Dvorak, and Taylor McGregor here in Miami. Florida State eating up about half of the second quarter on that touchdown drive, and now Miami backed up. Cam Ward, one of the Heisman Trophy favorites. So far, 7 of 11 passing, but he's been sacked twice, so they will run it straight ahead. Mark Fletcher Jr. for about 7 yards, and that's about what the running backs have been averaging per carry.
Downhill, big hole once again. I know Cam Ward is the story and the catalyst of this offense, but here in the first half, the story has been their ability to run the football between the tackles and get downhill with both Mark Fletcher and Damian Martinez. There's got to be a counter and an answer from Florida State defensively moving forward.
87 rushing yards and negative 16 from the quarterback Cam Ward. The running backs are over 100 combined already. On 2nd and 3, another run straight ahead, and Fletcher tackled but got the first down at the 20-yard line. Earl Little Jr. with the hit, but moved the chains.
And obviously with the background of Mario Cristobal, former offensive lineman at Miami, offensive line coach, that's what he knew when he took the job. They had to reestablish the line of scrimmage, get this offensive line into shape. So much praise for his offensive line coach. Alex Mirabal said that he's an elite teacher and he's the most critical piece to this staff and what goes on. This offensive line really flexing here in the first half.
Ward to throw, being chased back at the goal line and just hoisted out of bounds. Lolo Hea was in the backfield as Cam Ward again under pressure.
Yeah, good job just getting up the field and getting pressure. Cam Ward, more so than many quarterbacks you watch, he gets so much depth and continues to sink, give ground, and just get the ball out of bounds. Nice pressure on first down.
See if Florida State tries to heat up Cam Ward. Started 5 of 6, so just 2 of 6 passing since, and under duress on most of those snaps. So he'll throw it quickly, and Restrepo with a break a tackle and get about 5. Let's check in with Taylor.
Dusty was talking about offensive line coach Alex Mirabal. He's one of my favorite guys to watch on the sideline because of the way he coaches up his offensive line. You can tell there's so much intent. And Cristobal pointed out his background. He spent 14 years as an educator, so his ability to teach cannot be overstated. And when I watch him on the sideline, guys, I can see that. It's impressive.
They're great friends, as you talked about too, Dusty. And boy, it is interesting that you look at Mario Cristobal and then you look at Alex Mirabal. One looks like an offensive line coach, the other guy doesn't, but Mirabal's one of the best for sure. Big 3rd down and 4. Ward from the pocket. Everybody covered. Ward backing up, now stepping up, breaks a tackle, keeping the play alive. On the run, zipping it to the sideline where it's caught for a 1st down. JoJo Trader, true freshman, came back to the ball.
I mean, the coverage is great down the field. He's got nowhere to go with the football. The pressure just can't get to him. He evades one tackle of Jackson, keeps his eyes down the field, and finally finds an open target.
Now Fletcher running the ball straight ahead. Just a couple. Tackled by KJ Sampson. We're inside. 4 minutes to go. 3 timeouts left for Miami, and the benefit of another with the 2-minute timeout.
The calmness of Cam Ward, though, Dave, I mean, that's what really jumps off the tape. He never panics. He's always under control, even with pressure, and keeps his eyes down the field as good as anybody in college football.
Empty set. 4-man rush. Ward from the pocket. Stepping up again and taking off. And Ward kind of hesitated as he got to the sideline and then got shoved out by Quindarius Jones, about 2 yards short of the line to gain. Pickup of 7 on the play.
Number 1 3rd down offense in all of college football throughout the course of the season. And great success here once again tonight. And a big reason they put themselves in these kind of spots. 3rd and short, rely on that offensive line, rely on that physical running attack that they bring to the table.
Fletcher, and he gets hit, but moves the pile, and it's going to be close. Looks short. We'll see if Miami goes for it. 4th down and 1.
Oh, I think there's no doubt Mario Cristobal is going to go for it.
They don't have to snap it before the 2-minute timeout. Let's see if they do, though. Well, this would be huge if Florida State can hold up here at the point of attack, force a turnover on downs. They'll have to wait for the 4th down on the other side of the 2-minute timeout. It looked ugly early on with the way Miami moved the ball down the field easily against Florida State. The Seminoles, though, cut the lead in half, and now a big 4th down when we return.
At Barry in our college football studio, our AT&T Multiview is keeping fans connected across the country. The primetime window tonight, LSU jumped out to a 10-0 lead on Texas A&M over on ABC. Matchup of the first 2 teams in the SEC. Kansas up early on Kansas State. SMU Duke have just kicked, and Auburn Kentucky 10-0 on SEC Network.
All right, Matt, and here it's 14-7 Miami. 4th down and 1 on the Hurricane 46-yard line, and they will go for it.
They've had so much success on the interior of that offensive line. Be surprised if we don't see it here on 4th down.
It is Fletcher, and a 1st down to the 50-yard line. Cam Riley on the hit, but again, right at the teeth of that front.
Inez Cooper, the right guard, the key block to open the hole, and Fletcher hitting it downhill.
Now Ward will throw on 1st down. Everybody covered. Ward in trouble, gets away from one guy, runs into his own man, still backing up, and then throws it away. We've seen that a lot from Cam Ward, just creating time when everybody's covered downfield. For those that don't know much about Cam Ward, if you ever really watched Miami this year, he was a 0-star recruit coming out of Columbia, West Columbia High School, about an hour south of Houston. He went to Incarnate Word initially, an FCS school in San Antonio. He was there for 2 years and then went to Washington State, where he was a great player for 2 years. Transferred to Miami, ACC preseason player of the year, and in the Heisman Trophy conversation this year. 2nd and 10, run play. Martinez grabbed at the line of scrimmage by Blake Nicholson to bring up 3rd down and long. And neither team using a timeout here.
I think if you're Adam Fuller, you got to come after Cam Ward. His secondary, he said he was very confident in his defensive backs being able to play man-to-man. One of the only times we've seen them sit back in a soft zone, a converted 3rd and 20, it bit them in the foot. I expect pressure here on a crucial 3rd down from Adam Fuller, Florida State defensive coordinator.
Inside a minute to go now. 4-man rush instead. Stepping up Ward, and his pass is high but caught for a 1st down by Horton, who went up the ladder. He's 6'4" already, and a gain of 16.
Boys climbing the pocket, stepping up, and Isaiah Horton, who's just continued to get better and better. Excellent strong hands to make the catch.
And now Horton again. There's a flag down in the secondary back at the 17-yard line. And we'll see what the penalty's about. Stops the clock with 43 seconds to go. Florida State may have had too many men on the field again. They got busted for it in the 1st quarter. Had 13 guys on defense when it happened the 1st time. Miami converted a 4th down at midfield.
Illegal substitution. Defense, more than 11 players on the field. 5-yard penalty. Replay 1st down.
Got to be smarter, Dave, whenever you're going to pick and choose when to substitute. Miami's going to put their foot on the gas and go quickly. Just don't have the luxury to try to substitute. As you touched on, 2nd time here this half, they've caught him.
I'm Matt Barry. Coming up in the Mercedes-Benz halftime report, LSU, Texas A&M. That's a good one early. Plus, Texas bounces back tonight against Vanderbilt. And Navy sunk by Notre Dame. Dan Mullen, Joey Galloway joining me coming up. Dusty, we've decided as a group we will not show the Oklahoma highlight coming up in the Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Oh, Matt Barry. Matt the Troll. Appreciate you, Mr. Barry.
1st and 5. Cam Ward back to throw, and now fires far sideline, incomplete. Overshooting Restrepo. Boy, Florida State's done a pretty good job downfield in coverage. 2nd and 5.
That time it was Edwin Joseph, stride for stride with Restrepo. He has been held silent throughout the course of this ball game. Just overall, I think you feel good and positive if you're Adam Fuller about what this secondary's been able to do down the field against a talented Miami wide receiver corps.
Cam Ward just 10 of 17 for a $110 after a 5-for-6 start. Pass play on 2nd down. Ward hit, sacked back at the 15 by Darrell Jackson Jr. A transfer from Miami. And a timeout. 3rd down.
Well, this is an excellent job just getting up the field. And I thought Marvin Jones did a good job off the other edge. There's a chipper. Martinez helps pick him up. But that's just relentless effort to the quarterback. The strength, the power of Darrell Jackson. And he gets home.
Looked like Jackson and Cooper, the right guard, after the play, got into a little bit of a shoving match. It's really the first post-whistle scrap we've seen. And just some jawing going on there with Cam Ward, and then you see some teammates kind of eyeing Jackson, and then Cooper comes over there at the last second. You didn't see what happened after that, but Cooper gave him a little shove. And now it's 3rd down and 10. And Borregales as long as 56 on the year. This would be about a 52-yarder from here, so it's certainly in his range.
Xavier Restrepo the typical target in spots like this for this Miami offense, working up top in the center of your screen.
Florida State might come after Ward. They've had success doing that with 5 or 6 man pressures. Ward gets rid of it quick, caught inside the 20-yard line. Horton all the way down to the 12. Ward read it, got rid of it. Big play, 22 yards.
Boy, Horton has been the go-to guy on this drive. 3rd big catch he's had, and nice job after the catch.
Miami holding onto that timeout. The clock starting on the ready for play. 18 seconds to go. Ward to pass. Stepping up. Big chase. Taken off inside the 10. And down to about the 2-yard line. The clock will stop to get rid of the chains. Only 7 seconds left. And Miami will use its last timeout.
Boy, Cam Ward has been very good on 3rd down. A key 3rd and 10. I think now 4 for 4 passing, all for first downs on 3rd down. And we've seen him buy time with his legs. Now we see him pick up some nice yardage, getting the ball down inside the 5. And you've got to be smart in this situation, Dave. You cannot take a sack. Balls, you know, depending on what they want to do. They've obviously had so much success running the football. You could put the ball in the air and obviously have an opportunity if you don't convert and score, kick a field goal or have another opportunity to score here.
You'd have to think with 7 seconds you can run 2 plays in 6 seconds because you're so close here if they're pass plays.
Emptying it out here.
And a run play, if you get stuffed, the half's going to come to an end.
Cannot take a sack. Ball's got to come out quick. Horton been the go-to guy on this possession.
No timeouts left for Miami. 1st and goal, 7 seconds to play in the half. Ward looking back of the end zone, knocked away, incomplete. 3 seconds left. Restrepo, the intended target. Omar Graham Jr.'s had a really nice game. He was in coverage.
Boy, this is outstanding by Omar Graham. Bracket coverage there. Sort of safety cheat over to Restrepo. Excellent job by Graham. And that's a huge stop for this Florida State defense to hold them to a field goal.
Do you like this decision by Miami to kick? Florida State going to use a timeout here. Are you surprised Mario Cristobal's not going for it? They went for it on their side of the field once. They went for it twice in their own territory last week against Louisville. Yeah, with 3 seconds here in the half, and
they've had a ton of success running the football, but if you don't score here going before half, you give all the momentum to Florida State. You just had this long, time-consuming drive. I think Mario Cristobal says, I just want to make sure we take a 2-score lead and walk away with this possession with points on the board.
Florida State will get the ball to start the second half. I don't know, you got Cam Ward. You've got maybe the best player in college football. You're taking him off the field here when you need 2 yards.
Safe to say you disagree with the call, Mr. Pat.
Just surprised based on what Mario's done this year. Just a little surprised in this situation. Borregales, 20-yarder. Tough angle. But he puts it through. And that ends the first half. If you're a 1-6 Florida State team, with the way Miami moved the ball down the field on Mike Norvell's squad early, it's not the worst spot to be.
I think the big question is going to be, what do they do at quarterback? Kromenhoek, his only possession, let him down for a touchdown.
Taylor with Mario Cristobal.
Thank you, Coach. What went into the decision to go for the field goal there?
Well, we want to make it a 2-score game. We have the opportunity to do so. You know, we stuttered. We stumbled a couple times on offense in the first half. Make it a 2-score game. Go in there, regroup, come out, and do a better job in the second half.
Thank you. Dave?
Well, it's exactly what Dusty's point was about not giving Florida State any momentum and making sure you're up 2 scores as we send you to the Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Matt Berry and company.
Dave Pass, thank you. Mercedes-Benz halftime report. Let's start with the big one in the SEC. LSU, Texas A&M. Guys, coming into this game, these were the 2 unbeaten teams in SEC play. Maybe a little bit of a surprise. Garrett Nussmeier looked good early, dumped it off to Caden Durham. 40 yards inside the 40.
And Nussmeier coming off maybe his worst game of the season where he didn't throw a touchdown pass. Looked really good early in this game.
Kick a field goal, take a 3-0 lead, does LSU. 5.5 to go in the first quarter. Same score, Connor Wegman to Le'Veon Moss. Early turnover forced by LSU.
Well, there's no bigger stat in football than turnovers, and they come up big in big games.
We've seen it throughout the day. There's been some costly turnovers. Navy Notre Dame will have that coming up later. First and goal to Nussmeier to Mason Taylor. Look at the grab, Joe.
Yeah, it's a big-time game. Now, Texas A&M has to answer. They have to stay in this game. They're down 2 scores early. Now they got to find some offense.
Yeah, they've been riding Le'Veon Moss on the ground. Probably smart, Coach. They get on the board.
Well, that's what they do best. Get the ball in his hands, and they're a physical team that runs it and plays defense.
10-7 over on ABC. Alabama trying to bounce back from the Tennessee loss. Justice Haynes, look at that, just lowering his shoulder. 34-0 at that point, Alabama.
Yeah, and that's the expected, the Alabama, the defense we expected to see. Missouri's offense struggles.
Alabama's still not lost consecutive games since 2007. What about Penn State, Wisconsin, Drew Aller, Nicholas Singleton, the running back with a great catch.
Yeah, they do a nice job. A little pick play there to get him in the back of the end zone on the fade. Great job catching it.
7-3 Penn State. With that, welcome in Mercedes-Benz Halftime Report. Dan Mullen, Joey Galloway, and Matt Berry. Week 9 of the college football season. I say that because we've seen it 1 through 9. You have to be careful if you're a ranked team, especially in a rivalry game, but at least Miami's been able to increase their lead against Florida State team that looks pretty good tonight.
I'm going to go the other way. If I'm Florida State in this situation, I'm not feeling all that bad. They'll have 1 win on the season. They've lost their last 3. And they're in this game with Miami. Now, when you look at these two teams, you'd assume that Miami is going to blow them out. They're only up 17-7. They have a lot of yards. Florida State's struggling to move the ball. They played 2 quarterbacks. We figured that would happen. But they're still in this game. They've sacked Cam Ward 3 times. If they can continue to make him uncomfortable, they have a shot.
Well, rivalry games, to me, you throw that record out the window. You see it in all the time. Every year, I've coached in a ton of them. It doesn't matter what the record is. You know this has always been a battle. It'll continue to be a battle, I think, for 4 quarters. Cam Ward, and you see at times, I still think he's pressing at times. He does some great things, which make him really exciting. He makes some bad decisions. If they get him settled down and not just pressing and go make the plays, do the easy plays instead of always trying to make the hard play, that's going to be really beneficial for Miami, especially as the season goes on, that they want to compete for championships, that he needs to play at a championship level that way.
It's A block of college football final.
Yeah.
We just sent it.
Hey,
by the way, that Florida State defensive line came in.
Rip it and paste it.
If Seth's watching, go ahead, that'll be the C's discussion. Navy. They got Notre Dame. Highlights that coming up next.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz. Depot.
Say it's here where our pieces fall in place, and we get a chance to say before we ease away, for all the love you left behind, you can have mine.
You're watching the Mercedes-Benz Halftime Report.
Duke, one of the surprise teams, year 1 in the ACC. SMU, Malik Murphy, Quayshawn Brown. Little upset brewing right now at the Cone.
Great job over the outside shoulder by the Texas transfer, Malik Murphy.
SMU surprised a few folks early on, but see if Duke can pull off the upset there. There were some upset-minded folks thinking Navy could take down Notre Dame with their stuff, but Riley Leonard was good. Chris Mitchell touchdown, 14-0.
Yeah, right up until Navy turned the ball over 6 times in this game. They had no shot.
And Jeremiah Love, he'll do this too. He'll break one.
I mean, you keep getting the ball at times. Love had 102 yards rushing, but Navy just handed them the ball all day long.
Joey, 6 consecutive wins for Notre Dame. That's the most in the Marcus Freeman era, is a win streak.
Notre Dame's offense has been different since Riley Leonard started throwing touchdown passes.
Yeah, remember for a while it took a long time for him to do that.
Like 3 games.
Not anymore. And you take a look now at what they were able to do defensively. Ooh. 6 turnovers. They came into the game with 2. Second fewest in FBS. Most turnovers by the midshipmen in a game since 2002. This one was probably a little bit closer than Buckeyes fans wanted to see, especially after the beat down Indiana laid on Nebraska a week ago. Here, Will Howard, Jeremiah Smith ties the record. Chris Carter, true freshman, 8 touchdowns.
How do they leave a safety on him, Joey, right there? I mean, guy's got a big arm brace, and it's a safety on the top freshman receiver.
And then Ohio State had to come back late to get this win.
Yeah, Ohio State's going to Penn State next week. They better get something figured out.
Maybe a look ahead. I don't know. They were coming out of the bye week, surprised by that. Speaking of Indiana, who laid it to Nebraska last week, they laid it to Washington today.
Yeah, they did a great job. Justice Ellison had 123 yards rushing and a touchdown, with Curtis Rourke being out at the quarterback.
Ties the best start in program history, goes back to the 60s. Texas and Vanderbilt. Texas coming up, the Georgia loss. Quinn Ewers to DeAndre Moore, 25-yard touchdown.
Quinn Ewers threw an interception early in this game, then proceeded to go on to go 18 of 19 after that.
Look, Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt, they'll fight you. Junior Sherrill, 4-yard touchdown, just a 7-point game.
Oh, fourth down. How did he get through the window? He threw it like three Texas players on fourth down.
So this late, down 10, Pavia to Eli Stowers, 8-yard touchdown. Need an onside kick. It is a 3-point game. No drama on the onside, just a perfect bounce.
That's no fun.
It was not. It goes from the most exciting play in football to more coming. That's halftime report. The ultimate guide to the Big 12 Championship appears to go through BYU. Jake Retzloff, Chase Roberts. BYU now 30-plus points scored in 6 straight games, most since '99.
And it was weird. BYU was the underdog in this game. Kind of strange, but they came out and played like the favorite.
Rarely does Vegas make a mistake. They made a huge one on that game, if you were lucky enough to hop on it. Running game, the key for Miami early, up 17-7 on Florida State.
This halftime report is presented by Mercedes-Benz.
We're launching futures in business, in innovation, in health, in climate study, in wherever your passion takes you. We're leading the way, our way, and we couldn't be prouder. University of Miami, home of the future.
This is how Joey arrives to studio every Saturday. Like Shador Sanders coming up, hour and a half here on ESPN. Colorado 5-2, taking on an upstart Cincinnati team as we bring you our road to the championship, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. And right now, Coach, it looks like it's Dylan Gabriel and the Oregon Ducks.
Well, Dylan Gabriel had another 3 touchdown passes today as he keeps himself in the Heisman Trophy race, as well as keeping Oregon as the #1 team in the country.
First 8-0 start for the Ducks since 2013. Does Miami hang on and close the show against their rival?
Absolutely, but I think watch Florida State battle for the whole 4 quarters.
That'll be your Mercedes-Benz halftime report.
Both teams have own eras.
They are clearly the national champion.
Florida State rules the BCS.
Both have been home to stars.
Irvin's gone. Touchdown, Miami. Beautiful interception by Sanders.
Both have known ups and downs and complete turnarounds.
Fumble.
Through all the change, one thing stays the same. For their in-state rivalry, mixed with mutual respect. No matter where they are on the long and grinding ride, pride is always on the line.
The bottom line is these two teams still hate each other.
For Florida State, Miami.
Yeah, that's how I get by.
The perfect voice to get us set for the second half of meeting number 69 between these two great rivals, as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football Prime Time, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. From Hard Rock Stadium, you're watching the ACC on ESPN. There's Ray, along with many other Miami greats in attendance tonight. Clinton Portis, Willis McGahee, Gino Torretta, Heisman Trophy winner. They're all here And watching their Miami team with a ton at stake tonight, Dusty, ACC championship, something they've never won. Obviously, spot in the college football playoff, Heisman Trophy, all on the line. They're up 10, but they got some work to do here.
They do, and look, as you mentioned, everything out in front of this football team since they've joined the ACC. No ACC championships. Cam Ward told us his #1 goal: win an ACC championship, get into the college football playoff. So much discussion with him about the Heisman Trophy. They've been an excellent second-half team here this season. Most points scored in the second half, and see what kind of adjustments they make here coming out. That was an odd first half. Only 7 total possessions, 4 by Miami, and just 3 possessions in that first half from Florida State.
Seminoles at 1-6, hoping to turn their season around with a win against their rival. We'll see what quarterback Florida State sends out to begin the third quarter. Touchback as Singleton takes a knee. Take a look at our playbook, brought to you by Modelo.
We talked a lot about Cam Ward coming into this game. What has Florida State defensively done to limit him through the air? Well, on this particular possession, they brought a lot of pressure, back-to-back plays where they dialed up the pressure. They were able to get home. Missed 2 of 3 sacks in that first half of Cam Ward, as this Knowles defense limited the Heisman Trophy frontrunner. There's 131 yards in the air, no touchdown passes, and unable to get much going on the ground.
Florida State sends out Luke Kromenhoek, the true freshman, to start the second half. He engineered the lone scoring drive for the Seminoles in the first half, and a lot of it coming because of his legs. Here he uses his arm, and close to a first down on the dump off to Landon Thomas. Here's Taylor.
Mike Norvell telling me they will ride with Luke Kromenhoek as well if he continues to produce the way he did in the first half. They felt like he really had command of the offense when he stepped in there. And as for their defense, really pleased with the way they were able to slow down Cam Ward, but they would like to see better stopping of the rushing attack. Allowed 109 yards on the ground, some misfits and misassignments, says Mike Norvell.
All right, first things first, Taylor, let's see if Kromenhoek can help the defense by keeping it on the sideline for a while. They had a 7.5-minute drive in the second quarter. That pass tipped into the air, and trying to catch up to it was Jaden Harris. Got batted at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 10.
I think this is the right move from Mike Norvell to stick with the true freshman. You know, he had told us yesterday the plan was to get Kromenhoek in the third possession, then probably go back to Brock Glenn. But the fact that he was able to lead that touchdown drive, make some plays, be a spark, make some plays with his legs, I like this move to put the ball in the hands of the true freshman.
So Mish Powell got the pass deflection there. 2nd and 10 for Kromenhoek. Threw the ball 7 times, completed 3 in his first collegiate game last week in a loss at Duke. Gonna hand it off here to Toafili up the middle. Maybe they can get him going. Toafili, who was really good last year during Florida State's undefeated regular season, but this year just about 30 yards per game. Florida State going with some tempo after a 6-yard run. Miami rushing just 3. Kromenhoek steps up, takes off, and driven down. The Saint on the takedown. It's 4th and 3. Will Mike Norvell roll the dice early here in the third? Looks like he will.
I'm a little surprised by this, Dave. I figured they would have punted. I'm sure the analytics are saying right here around midfield you go, but I'd punt this football.
Analytics actually saying kick.
Okay.
So to your point, they agree with what you're saying. Maybe Mike Norvell going back to the fact we haven't had a lot of possessions, feeling like we've got to get this now. Kromenhoek from the pocket, throws completely, pick it up. Kyle Morlock on the catch. Excellent throw that time by the freshman.
Well, how about the confidence Mike Norvell has in his young quarterback? The veteran tight end, nice job on the out route, on time, and a huge 4th down conversion.
Really got to boost the confidence sky high of the quarterback when you let him spin it there on 4th down. Kromenhoek stepping up, gets out of there and gets positive yardage before Maui Noah drags him down. He had the big run of 42 yards, Kromenhoek did, in the second quarter, the longest run of the year for Florida State to set up the touchdown from Keziah Holmes.
We talked with Alex Atkins, the offensive coordinator, talked about Kromenhoek's toughness. When he was in high school, he was a safety, didn't start playing quarterback till later in his career, and got the eye black there, some real toughness and a defensive mindset you can tell with some of these runs.
1 yard pickup on 1st and 10. Miami stacking the box on 2nd and 9. Kromenhoek and not on the same page with the receiver Hakeem Williams. DJ Uiagalelei, as Mike Norvell told us, weeks away still after a broken finger on his throwing hand against SMU after starting the first 5 games of the season. He was just 1-4 in those starts. Well, maybe Florida State has found something here with the kid. 19-year-old from Savannah, Georgia. Didn't start playing quarterback till his junior year of high school.
Ty Douglas.
Back to throw on 3rd and 9. On the run. And dumps it off at the last second. Toafili spun down out of play short of the line to gain. You would think they'd go for it on 4th down and 2 since they just went for it in their own territory on 4th down.
Well, I like the job on the fly by Kromenhoek, just making a play. Utilizing that athleticism once again. It's smart by Toafili to be right there as an outlet for his quarterback. Nice pickup just to put this in 4th and manageable. And no doubt they're going for it again. A toss.
Instead, Kromenhoek will throw and fires down the sideline. Incomplete. Boy, going for Toafili. What'd you think of the play call?
Well, that's the same play that they ran on 4th down at the goal line, except they faked the toss to that bunch side this time. Try to hit Toafili. Not a high percentage play on the wheel route. Well defended by Miami. And it's a big stop for the Hurricanes. Well, there's a key 4th down, well defended by Miami. They're going to fake the toss, run the wheel route with Toafili, and it's picked up, but a missed opportunity. Portier is going to run the over route. Nobody with them. Kromenhoek never looked that way, stuck with the wheel the entire way. It's well defended, and a key stop for Miami to start the second half.
So the Canes took over on downs at their 46. Cam Ward, no touchdown passes in the first half. Said at least 2 in every game. They're going to run it here to Martinez. And he's grabbed by Omar Graham after a pickup of 3. We mentioned that Ward has had 2 or more touchdowns in each game. He's had 4 or more 3 times, including 4 last week against Louisville. But so far, Ward just 11 of 19. He's been sacked 3 times. Not as sharp since the first drive when he was 5 of 6. He'll throw it downfield here, and a disconnect with the receiver. Restrepo. Coverage by Kevin Knowles.
That's man-to-man once again. Kevin Knowles, step for step. This pass just sails and goes wide of Restrepo. Really been impressed at times throughout the course of this game with what we've seen from this Florida State secondary. Here they are on 3rd down. Was a problem in the first half. Miami 7 of 9 in that first half. Adam Fuller, the one drive that they stopped him. He brought pressure on 3rd down. He's showing pressure on this snap.
Play clock down to 3 and pressure off the edge. Ward gets it away, and close to a 1st down is George. The officials mark him just short. 4th down.
I think Mario, he's going to go quick. Damian Martinez in the game, powerful back. Expect a handoff between the tackles.
He's 232 pounds. Instead busts it to the outside and has a 1st down to the 41-yard line.
Elijah Lofton, nice job as a tight end coming back across, gets a key block on the edge.
Back to throw goes Ward. Pressure again. Ward stepping up. Long throw. Coming back to make the catch is George, and gets knocked down by Joseph after the wrap from Cypress. Gain of a handful.
Really good job working back to the football and attacking it up in the air. Good strong hands and athleticism from George.
Year-old Cam Ward, who started out at Incarnate Word after nobody, literally nobody other than Incarnate Word, recruited him out of high school. 2 years there, 2 years at Washington State, transferred to Miami, and very much at the top of the Heisman Trophy list. Got an undefeated Miami team as Ward goes to throw on 2nd and 3. Ward running here. Gets the first down and then just takes a seat. He actually began his slide maybe short of the line to gain. Here's Taylor.
Dave, partly the reason that Cam Ward did not get a ton of looks out of high school is because his offense was a wing T, and so he wasn't able to showcase his arm. I asked him, when was the first time that you felt confident you could be one of the best players in college football? And he said his first snap at Incarnate Word, he realized in a different offense, he had an entirely new skill set that he wanted to showcase to the country.
In describing him, Mario Cristobal said he's like a government agent the way he handles himself, and Cristobal would know because he was actually going down that path after playing and then decided to come back to Miami to be a GA, and the rest is history. Ward throwing the pass a little behind Restrepo inside the 30, dragged down, and flags fly. We might get offensive pass interference here on Sam Brown Jr.
Might be a holding after the catch, Dave.
Yep, that's what it's going to be. One or the other. We have our first ACC Network men's basketball game tomorrow night. It's a charity matchup. Bobby Hurley comes back to Duke. Hurley now the head coach at Arizona State, of course. All proceeds from the event will go towards the Duke Children's Hospital. Cooper flagged the #1 recruit in the country. Expected to be a star right off the bat. Can't wait to watch him play for the preseason #7 Duke Blue Devils. Ward pulling it back, dumping it off to Arroyo, the tight end with running room. And dives over the defender at the 29-yard line. It's a first down.
Run the ball, run the ball. Now you play action pass, and you dump it down to your athletic tight end in the flat. Nice pickup on 1st and long.
Martinez can't find running room this time. They blow it dead at the 28. Olohea leading the charge there defensively for Florida State. Meeting number 69 between these rivals. Florida State's won the last 3. Blew out Miami here 2 years ago. Mario Cristobal as a player was a part of Wide Right 1 and 2. And then as a GA, part of Wide Right 3, all Miami wins. But has yet to beat Florida State as the Miami head coach. But his team's up 10 and looking for more. Huge 3rd down and 7. Ward steps up, dumps it off at the last second. And trying to fight is Sam Brown Jr. He comes up about 4 yards short, and it looks like Miami will bring out the kicking team. So Florida State keeping it a 2-possession deficit with that stop.
Bend but don't break. It was a recipe that kept them somewhat in the ball game against Clemson. Nice job getting Brown to the ground, and Ward Gallo's been so good this year for Miami kicking the ball. I think it makes sense. Try to take the points in the field goal attempt.
He's 9 of 10 on the year. This is a 42-yard try. And he buries that one way up the net to make it 20-7 Miami with 5:59 to go in the 3rd quarter.
Comes down to this. Virginia Tech, they rule it a touchdown.
The ruling on the field is reversed.
He took a shot.
The ruling on the field stands as 4th down.
And the Canes have come all the way back.
Hit this game to rest. Some controversial calls by officials and replay during these last 3 games. A 4-point win against Virginia Tech, coming back from 25 down to beat Cal on the road by 1. The 7-point win last week. So a far cry from what they did to teams the first 4 games of the year. Of course, the level of competition increasing since that time. And still leading here 20-7. Florida State with a big possession coming up. Take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Capital One. Boy, Oregon just impressive. Destroyed Illinois earlier today.
Boy, Nebraska, Ohio State, that was a lot closer than anybody had anticipated. Matt Rule's squad bounced back after getting blown out to Indiana, almost upsetting Ohio State. Texas barely gets out of Nashville with the win. LSU handling business so far. And how about Penn State right now, down in Madison, Wisconsin, to the Badgers?
Boy, it really feels right now like Oregon's the best team. The only thing is, other than Ohio State, have they played the same competition that Georgia and LSU have played in the SEC? Toa Philly on the run here on first down. Brought down at the 29, so gain of about 4. Georgia off, as you saw. This week will take on Florida. Next week, that game on ABC, 3:30 Eastern time. Don't forget later tonight, Colorado in action when we're done hosting Cincinnati.
What a year. Coach Prime, Shedeur Sanders been outstanding. Travis Hunter's supposed to be back tonight. Cincinnati quietly 5-2. That's a good one in Boulder.
So Kromenhoek staying in the game at quarterback for Mike Norvell in Florida State. Off play action, taking a shot, and in stride, he hits Ja'Kai Douglas. Out of bounds at the 43-yard line. That's a gain of 28.
Well, this is tight coverage out there on the perimeter from Hill, and just a perfectly thrown football. Ja'Kai Douglas wins off the line of scrimmage, gets a step, and well, Luke Kromenhoek showing a lot of confidence and a big-time throw.
They're in Miami territory at the 42. You see the numbers, both through the air and on the ground for Kromenhoek, the true freshman. He'll throw it here, stepping up, in trouble, and gets face planted for a sack at the 44 by Simeon Barrow Jr.
Well, Simeon Barrow, he's just going to kind of float around the line of scrimmage. Doesn't get up the field, almost mirrors the quarterback, and good job by the big defensive tackle getting the freshman to the ground.
And this is still a learning experience for Luke Kromenhoek, playing defense early on in his high school career and also receiver. DJ Uyunglele is hurt, not available. Brock Glenn, for all intents and purposes, benched. And the true freshman going to work on 2nd and 11. Kromenhoek keeping it. And he runs past the 40 and taken down at the 36. Here's Taylor.
It has been a group effort amongst Florida State's offense down here to coach up Kromenhoek on the sideline. After the previous offensive series, it was Malik Benson who went up to him and he was drawing routes on his finger, pointing to the different things that he was seeing and the different things that he believed that Luke should be looking for.
And we'll see what he does here. Big 3rd down and 4. You'd have to think 4 down territory for Florida State.
He's got 2 true freshmen in the game, and wide receiver McCoy and Gibson.
Miami coming after him. Kromenhoek's pass is high. Had Landon Thomas, the tight end, but misfire. And the offense staying on the field for 4th and 4 late in the 3rd, down 13.
It's been pretty clear here in the second half. Already the 3rd, 4th down we've seen Mike Norvell go for. They know that they've got to score touchdowns.
It would be about a 53-yard field goal. That's certainly in Ryan Fitzgerald's range. He's hit from 59 this year, but in a low possession game with a potentially explosive offense ready to get untracked, Mike Norvell not taking a chance, keeping his offense out there for 4th and 4. Pressure coming up the middle. Kromenhoek gets out of there and then finally sacked at the 42-yard line. Akeem Mesidor with the takedown.
Well, with a true freshman quarterback, Lance Guidry's going to dial up the pressure. It's Basaint on the pressure. It's Mesidor with the sack. The second fourth down stop for the Canes here in this second half.
All season long, student sections across the country competing to be the Taco Bell Live Student Section of the Year. Download the Taco Bell app to learn more. Full house here at Hard Rock Stadium for another Miami-Florida State matchup. The Hurricanes taking over on downs with a 13-point lead late in the third. Cam Ward starting to heat up. He's completed his last 5 passes. They'll run it instead, and the ball may have come out there. It did. It was fumbled, but recovered by Miami. Or no, are they going to say? Yeah, one official looked like he was signaling it's Florida State ball, but no, it was recovered by Fletcher, who lost it, and it goes down as a gain of 2.
Fletcher put the ball on the ground a week ago.
Ward to throw, and he fires complete, and it's a first down to Jacoby George. 6 in a row for Ward.
Well, you give any cushion outside, Cam Ward's going to make you pay. The timing on that throw to George.
Thrown for over 300 yards in every game this year. First Miami quarterback ever to do that in the first 7, but 168 so far. Still a lot of time to play, though. No touchdowns in this game, and he's averaging about 4 touchdowns per game. 24 passing, 3 rushing. And here comes a flea flicker. Ward looking over the middle, and it's caught by Restrepo for a first down and a gain of 12.
Well, finally, Cam Ward finds his favorite target down the field for Restrepo. It's a really good route on Kevin Knowles. Overall, pretty well defended on the flea flicker, but a little separation created by Restrepo and a big catch.
7 consecutive completions for Cam Ward, trying to become just the 3rd Miami quarterback to win the Heisman Trophy. Vinny Testaverde, Gino Torretta, the other 2. Ward to throw again. Now taking a shot downfield. Incomplete. Trying to hit George. Cypress was step for step. Meanwhile, on that catch by Restrepo a moment ago, he passed Michael Irvin for number 3 all-time at Miami. Reggie Wayne up next, and Santana Moss number 1, and Restrepo will get there likely here in the next couple games.
How about the names on that graphic? Santana Moss, Reggie Wayne, Michael Irvin. What a career it's been for Xavier Restrepo. He's going to pass all those guys here before too long, and it's a guy who plays with a chip on his shoulder, a tremendous amount of grit and strain every single play.
Ward gets rid of it quickly. It's juggled and incomplete through the hands of Horton, and then almost picked off on the redirection by K.J. Kirkland. So what Florida State needed but could not get a takeaway.
With Horton just completely mishandles that. Doesn't watch the ball in, gets his eyes on the defender. He's trying to run with the ball before he possesses it. Now sets up 3rd and long. And we'll see if this Florida State defense can come up with another timely stop.
Florida State with pressure. Ward's pass caught out of bounds. Is Horton short of the line to gain? It's 4th and 3, and Miami is going to kick.
Coach Cristobal continues to play it safe, and I think that the way he looks at this, I mean, the way this Florida State offense has played throughout the course of the year, you push this to a potential 16-point lead, and you just start to try to distance yourself further and further from Florida State.
It's as if you're saying to Florida State, your offense isn't good enough. We're just going to keep adding 3 points and force you now to have to score 2 touchdowns and convert on 2 two-point conversions. For Gallus, again, perfect on the 45-yard field goal. Let's check in with Matt Berry.
Gentlemen, I have your Chick-fil-A move on the field, and it's courtesy of LSU. Garrett Nussmeier up top. Aaron Anderson, 76 yards, gets away from the Aggie defenders. Right now, LSU impressive in this one. They lead at the half over A&M, 17-7.
Boy, LSU, hard to believe they lost to USC the way they're playing right now.
That defense under Blake Baker, what a turnaround. From a year ago, they had the Heisman Trophy winner, but their defense was atrocious. They go get Blake Baker, and he's made all the world a difference. That was an A&M team we saw earlier this season. They've been playing some really good football, and they always typically play well there in College Station.
Impressive. Here's Cam Ward throwing the tablet, really upset that they have not been able to convert on third down when they get inside the opponent's 30-yard line. He's probably as frustrated as he's been this year. It just has come easy for him for the most part. This will be a touchback. It'll come out to the 25. And we have a quick word now from Verbo.
Defenses so far have been stingy, and that really showed in the...
Look, if you want a house without a host, you should have booked a Verbo. Like I was saying, both teams have really good defenses, and it really showed in the second half.
Florida State still alive, in part because, again, Cam Ward and the Miami offense just can't get on track. Just 188 passing yards, nowhere near what he's done week in, week out this season. But a true freshman at quarterback. Florida State just 7 points so far and needing 16 points to tie. Still plenty of time on the clock. Gonna try to get the run game going with Toafili, and a little surprised they haven't done more of this.
Gain of 9. Just get the ball in Toafili's hands. I know they tried on the wheel route. Even that last fourth down, he was in motion and he kind of got caught up inside. But the more they can get the ball to Toafili in space, the more you have a chance for an explosive play.
Just 6 carries so far. See if they elect to snap it here before the end of the quarter. Just try to hard count. Nope, they will run a play. Toafili, as a flag comes down, tackled for a loss at the 33 by Tyler Barron. Quarter will end regardless, but we'll see if this will back up the Seminoles when they start the fourth.
Holding offense number 53. That's a 10-yard penalty. Replay second down. That penalty will be enforced to start the fourth quarter.
Miami trying to get to 8-0 for the first time since 2017. We go to the fourth in Miami. Welcome back to ESPN College Football Primetime, presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. Miami leads 23-7 as we start the fourth quarter. Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Winning's easier when you're road game ready. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven. Dave Pasch, Dustin Dvorak, and Taylor McGregor. Hard Rock Stadium, 69th edition of Miami and Florida State. The Hurricanes up 16. Florida State after a holding call, faced with a 2nd and 11. Luke Kromenhoek, true freshman quarterback, playing the most of his career so far in this game. And his pass over the middle is incomplete and a ton of contact. No penalty flag. Moments ago, Taylor with Mario Cristobal.
Coach, up 3 scores going into the fourth quarter. What has your attention?
Line of scrimmage, taking more control at the line of scrimmage, particularly on the defensive side. We sustained drives. We didn't get touchdowns. We got field goals to create a little bit of separation. But I mean, we gotta do a better job. We gotta go and finish this game.
Thank you, Dave.
A chance to finish this drive, Taylor. They've got Florida State in 3rd down and long.
They've been pressuring the freshman quarterback, showing pressure here once again. No safeties over the top.
Mike Norvell has to burn a timeout. Play clock was at 1. We'll kick off your Week 8 with the countdown crew. Tua Tagovailoa is back for the Miami Dolphins. They'll play here tomorrow at 1 Eastern against Arizona. Also, the inspiring story of 49ers rookie Ricky Pearsall. Plus all the latest from Adam Schefter. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Monday Night Football, it's the Giants and the Steelers. Russell Wilson winning his first start as a Steeler last week. It's 8 Eastern on ABC. Peyton and Eli back again on ESPN2.
Russell Wilson looked really good against the Jets last week. Impressive performance by him. Mr. Pash, you'll be here tomorrow. You get a little double dip here.
Quick turnaround.
In Hard Rock.
Tua back, 1-3 without the Miami quarterback. He'll be under center for the Dolphins against the Cardinals. 3rd and 11 for Luke Kromenhoek and the Florida State offense. From the 24. Kromenhoek in trouble on the run. Steps up, fires high and incomplete. It'll be 4th down. A flag came in late. In the backfield, 2 penalty markers are down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 9. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Tyler Barron called for roughing the passer to keep the drive alive for FSU.
Kromenhoek was buying some time.
Easy call.
Comes in late. Little forearm shiver to the back. Just Tyler Barron, a veteran player. I know it's his first year here at Miami, but got to be smarter than that. Mario Cristobal not going to be happy with his veteran defensive end hitting the quarterback in the back late.
Made it an easy call for the official. Took about 3 steps and then delivered the shot upstairs to the quarterback. The biggest play came on a broken play, quarterback run on 4th and 1 that went for 42 yards. That's really been it for Florida State. Give to Keziah Holmes, and he's to the 45-yard line. So when they've run the ball on 1st down, they've been able to get yardage with their backs.
Nice job off the right side. Little gap scheme run. Big hole opens up. Good productive positive yardage. Holmes, the bigger of these backs we've seen here tonight.
Florida State 1-6 for the first time since 1975. Try to turn its season around. Down 16. First team since 1956 to follow an unbeaten season in the regular year by a 1-6 record. Holmes with room off the left edge. Got a first down into Miami territory at the 48-yard line.
Now zone running. Good job off the left side. Jacob Rizzi, the left guard, gets good movement. With that zone, you want to just get the defense moving, create some space. Good space created. Nice downhill running once again there from Holmes.
Over 100 rushing yards on the day, about 5 yards a carry. Makai Danzy, a true freshman in it, running back now.
A great speed. True freshman running back. Explosive athlete. See if they try to get him the ball on the perimeter in space.
He's about 6'2", Tallahassee native, and he'll get it. Tried to cut it back and did well to get close to the line of scrimmage. Ruben Bain Jr. missed 4 games due to injury, the ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year last season.
We haven't called his name much, but Ruben Bain is so powerful, so disruptive. Splits a double team and makes this play in the backfield before Danzy can get going.
He'll come off the field here for 2nd and 11. Kromenhoek, a screen set up, and huge hit on Singleton. Big time collision between him and Besaint, who's down. Helmet came off of Besaint after that hit. Hope he's okay. Back in a moment. So Wesley Besaint walked under his own power off the field. So that's good news for Miami as you look at the Hurricanes and their chances to make the CFP. 87% right now. Clemson at 40%. They have a loss. Pitt undefeated at 7-0, but only a 20% chance according to the All-State playoff predictor. Pitt has SMU next week. Clemson has Louisville. Miami will face Duke.
Good ACC race here coming down the stretch, Mr. Pash.
Miami does not play Clemson. Croman Hawk with a flag down on the move. Now a second flag comes down, and he's bumped out of bounds after a pickup of 1 by Maui Noah. And penalty marker on the far side, then one on the near side in the backfield.
I expect these to offset. Look like offsides on Miami, and then seems like a hold there in the back from Florida State.
There are 2 fouls on the play, 1 by each team. Offside, defense, holding, offense. Those fouls will offset. Replay 3rd down.
It'll be 3rd and 7 again. 2 great games at 3:30 next week on ESPN. Number 10, Iowa State, home to Texas Tech. ABC, the world's largest outdoor party between Florida and 2nd-ranked Georgia over on ABC. Florida down its starting quarterback, Graham Mertz, for the year, so DJ Lagway will get the call.
DJ Lagway was very good last week. But a win by Georgia going to Texas. That defense was ferocious. And but Iowa State still undefeated for Matt Campbell this year.
BYU got a big win, so it may come down to those 2 teams. Nobody really thought that going into the year for the Big 12 championship. 3rd and 7. Croman Hawk to throw. His pass through the hands of Douglas, who was right at the sticks, and Florida State will have to go for it on 4th and 7, down 16.
Ja'Kai Douglas, just 5'9", maybe. This pass sells wide of his intended target. He's not quite on the same page. Catchable ball, but as he's coming out of his break, just unable to bring it in. 3rd down struggles continue for this Florida State offense.
And this could be the game right here. 4th and 7 at the 45 of Miami. Only a 2-man rush. Croman Hawk taking a shot and knocked away at the last second. Great play by Maui Noah downfield on the true freshman tight end Amari Williams, and the Canes take over on down.
That's the 2nd big-time 4th down play by Maui Noah in coverage. Earlier on the wheel route, now gonna run down the sidelines with Amari Williams, gets the left hand up at a perfect time, and another stop by this Hurricanes defense.
Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun.
ESPN College Football Prime Time is presented by IHG Hotels and Resorts. 19 hotel brands, 1 loyalty program. Download the app. And in part by Mercedes-Benz.
But only that was our ride to the game tonight here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, and a gorgeous night. 69th meeting between Miami and Florida State. The last win in this series was back in 2020. Miami won 52-10 at home. A lot of people thought that might be the score of tonight's game coming in, but Florida State's hung around, and now Miami running. A.J. Allen, who was cut down at the 48 by Little, so gain of 3.
Nice job in the open field by Little Jr. coming down, making that tackle. There was a lot of space out in front for A.J. Allen. They leaned on A.J. Allen last week against Louisville. Crucial situation in the game. Running backs coach Matt Merritt believed in his veteran running back, put him in the game, and it paid dividends.
Still no touchdowns accounted for Cam Ward. Going to throw it here on 2nd down. Sidearms it complete into Florida State territory to Brown. Be 3rd down and 4. We're so used to watching Cam Ward in Miami just destroy teams this year, as Brown a little shaken up after the play.
Well, one of the things is they typically generate so many explosive plays. That's one thing that Florida State defensively has done a good job of tonight, limiting the explosive plays from Cam Ward in this offense.
Miami hosts Duke next week, still has to go to Georgia Tech and Syracuse, and plays Wake Forest here. They do not face Clemson. They do not play Pitt in the regular season. Currently ranked 6th in the country after being 19th preseason. Ward on third down, backing up, setting up a screen, and the catch is made, but an immediate tackle short of the line to gain by about a yard. Boy, that was a nice spot. Big hit by Ashlyn Barker, and Miami's going to go for it on 4th and 1.
Heavy personnel bring in the extra tight ends and lean on this offensive line. Mark Fletcher checks in. He's been their short yardage back quite a bit as of late. They could lean on Martinez or Fletcher, but it'll be Fletcher here again on 4th and short.
Chance to maybe put the game away for all intents and purposes by picking up a 4th down and 1. Fletcher got it easily. That'll keep the drive going for Miami. And now the Hurricanes can work that clock.
Little blip shot from up top. Good push. See Poole, left guard, Matthew McCoy. 4 tight ends in the game as they convert once again on 4th and short.
Well, Miami showing that it can beat you different ways with the explosive plays through the air or an excellent rushing attack with multiple backs coming at you, as we've seen here tonight. Ward will throw it on 1st down, and his pass on target to Restrepo. A flag comes flying in. Restrepo on the catch at the 30. Gain of 14 if it stands.
Pass interference, offense, number 2. 15-yard penalty, replay 1st down.
It's on Isaiah Horton.
It's going to be on Isaiah Horton. I'm a little surprised by this flag. I guess they're saying that he kind of shields the defender, but he continued to run his route. But it draws the flag.
So it's going to be 1st and 25 for Miami.
Yeah, so Isaiah Horton's going to work up. You see him shield the defender, but as he continues to work up his route, just draws the flag.
Miami just going to run it here. Allen busting it to the outside, and here comes a flag. Boy, it looked like clear holding that time on Elijah Lofton, the true freshman tight end. And there was a big collision, and Ashlyn Barker is down for Florida State. Training staff raced onto the field. Mike Norvell over there too. Well, great to see Ashlyn Barker on his feet after this huge collision with A.J. Allen.
He was down for a while, Dave, and as you touched on, great to see him come up. Allen delivered a serious hit, and Barker went straight to the ground. Scary.
So it'll be 2nd down and long, and an offensive pass interference that was accepted, then the holding call that was declined. Barker initially was face first and was not moving. Then they moved Barker over onto his back. We saw his legs move, both of them, and then he sat up for about 30 seconds and then stood up. So it's good to see for the young man. 8:32 to go in the game. Miami up 23-7, a low scoring, low possession game. But the Hurricanes have never lost control. 2nd and 19. Ward back to throw. And Ward is going to get sacked again by Darrell Jackson Jr. He's been in the backfield a lot. That's going to be a loss on the play of 3.
Well, he continues to play well. He had his best game a week ago, his 2nd sack. Watch the power and the strength. He's got long arms, and he utilizes these as he just walks Matthew McCoy in the backfield, sheds the block, and gets Cam Ward to the ground.
That's 13 sacks now in the last 4 games surrendered by Miami. Got to be concerned going forward, doing a better job protecting Cam Ward. 4 sacks for FSU today against Ward, and it's 3rd and 22. And Florida State not done, but remember they surrendered 3rd and 20 conversion by Miami in the first half. Ward sends the pressure at that time. In trouble still though, moving around, looking downfield, and a flag comes down. His pass is caught by Fletcher, about 9 yards short of a first down. And let's see what the flag is about. Pressure from Marvin Jones Jr., whose dad was an All-America at Florida State. Jones started out at Georgia, then transferred to FSU.
Holding defense, number 20.
Wow.
10-yard penalty, automatic first down.
And the only reason this happens is Cam Ward just buys time. And you touched on it. Marvin Jones Jr. gets the initial pressure. Cam Ward steps up, just buys time. And it's so difficult to cover for that long against wide receivers. Blake Nicholson caught on a wide receiver, trying to stay in coverage here with Mark Fletcher out of the backfield. And as he gets away from Nicholson, draws the flag. I mean, clearly was holding the running back.
It's been that kind of a year. You saw Mike Norvell kind of look to the heavens after the penalty, as if to say, when's it going to end? They're headed to a 1-7 record for the first time in 50 years after going undefeated in the regular season last year. And yes, losing Jordan Travis was big. We saw it in the ACC title game. They still won the game, but only threw for about 80 yards. And they got blown out by Georgia in the bowl game after not making the college football playoff. Run play here to Fletcher on first down. But I think going into the year, the expectations were still that Florida State would be in the playoff mix this year. They're not only not in the playoff mix, they're one of the worst teams in the country right now.
Well, they were a favorite to win the ACC right there at the very top with Clemson. And the expectation was that with a lot of the offensive line coming back to be able to run the football, play great defense with an outstanding defensive line, and brought in DJ Uyunglele, a veteran quarterback, and with a strong running game, good defense, they'd be able to win a lot of games. And they have not run the football effectively. They've had poor quarterback play, and the defense hasn't been quite as stifling as most people anticipated.
And Fletcher on 2nd and 6, pushing the pile, and a first down.
And not that it would fix everything, but boy, what a difference a quarterback makes. As we can see with the impact Cam Ward has had on this Miami football team and the lack of impact they've had at the quarterback position this entire season. And I mean, you're reaching historic status here with this fall from grace from where they were a season ago to the way this season continues to unfold.
Florida State still has to play at Notre Dame and Florida. They do have Charleston Southern and a game against North Carolina on the schedule. North Carolina beat Virginia today. Downfield throw from Ward. Going to be a flag here. Horton the intended target. Jones in coverage. Well, towards the end of the Jimbo Fisher era.
Defense, number 16. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
Before Fisher left for Texas A&M, you could tell that Florida State was starting to head in a different direction. They had great success under Jameis Winston, won the national championship, but Fisher left as things started to slide. And then under Willie Taggart for a couple years, bad football. Mike Norvell comes in, takes a couple years to get going, wins 10 games. Then last year wins 13, National Coach of the Year. Everybody thinks the Noles are back, and then they have this disastrous campaign. Ward to throw. Over the middle, complete inside the 10 to Isaiah Horton. It'll be 1st and goal. Cam Ward trying to get his first touchdown of the night. He'll have an opportunity.
Nice route by Isaiah Horton. It's on a simple dig. The delivery from Cam Ward. Saw the one drop from Horton, but he's really picked his game up coming into this 4 straight games with a touchdown catch. He continues to be that number 2 option outside of Restrepo.
The game-winning touchdown against Virginia Tech prior to all the controversy at the end. Ruled a catch on a Hail Mary by Tech, then overturned by replay, resulting in a Miami win. Ward, end zone, incomplete. Going for George with Thomas in coverage.
That's good coverage outside by Thomas. George trying to go up and a little head top here, unable to. Good job getting the hands up, getting that ball out.
See there the left foot landing out of bounds. Clearly an incomplete pass. Well, tonight will not help Cam Ward's numbers. Doesn't necessarily mean it hurts his Heisman Trophy chances. Still a chance to at least get some numbers here at the end. Again, under 300 yards for the first time this season. Here comes a trick play and a throwback to Ward. This will help his numbers. A touchdown catch. And his 28th touchdown responsible for. It's the tight end Elijah Arroyo with the pass. They'll put that on the flyer they send out to all the Heisman Trophy voters.
Shannon Dawson dialing it up here late in this football game.
They're going for 2, which is interesting. Perhaps has something to do with the rivalry. Perhaps looking again to add numbers for Cam Ward. But at this point, I mean, the game's over. 4.5 to go. You're up 22. It's a 3-score game as it stands right now.
Now a timeout from Miami. All right, we're going to have Arroyo sitting right here. A little toss here. They're going to work back. And then Cam Ward, nobody going to be with him. Has a little reverse. Tight end, throw back to the quarterback. But the touch from Elijah Arroyo, the lefty. Put it right where it needs to be for Cam Ward. Good job by him selling it initially, just kind of walking the other way. Identified late by Florida State, a walk-in touchdown. You know, you mentioned about, kind of Cam Ward there to pat his stats, and obviously now he's got a touchdown on the board, he didn't throw for it, but we asked him about that. We had a chance to talk with him this week about being the Heisman. He's like, I don't care. I don't want to talk about it. I want to win games. I want to win an ACC championship. I want to go to the college football playoff. And as we talked to the staff, they said he is not accolade-driven. He is all business and all about winning. And he's put his team in a position now, about to move to 8-0 as they continue to rack up wins.
Well, again, that chip remains on that shoulder from not getting recruited out of high school except by Incarnate Word in San Antonio. That's where he started his collegiate career. Then Washington State and now Miami. Ward to throw, going for 2 points. Being chased, backing up, still backing up, and then just throwing it out of bounds. Let's go to Matt Berry in the studio.
Okay, Dave Pasch, I've got your all-state check-in and a good one tonight between Wisconsin and Penn State. Scotty up 10-7 till Jalen Reed, a gift of a pick six. And right now, Penn State back up 14-13 headed to the fourth.
Boy, huge score there. The Nittany Lions very much in the conversation for Big Ten championship, college football playoff. Colorado's up next year on ESPN, by the way, 10:15 Eastern time. We got a game Tuesday night, Texas State, Louisiana, and then ABC 3:30 next weekend, Florida, Georgia. Bulldogs ranked number 2. Oregon is the only team ahead of them right now in the polls, and they'll stay there after blasting Illinois today. Are you a believer based on what you've seen from Miami today? Ranked 6th in the country. Is that about where they should be? Should they be higher? Do you send them back a little bit? What do you think?
They've got all the components to be right where they should be. This is a team that has got a dynamic offense. They've got balance within that offense with the quarterback play, ability to run the football, a defense that creates negative plays. This defense has been really good here today. They get off the field on 3rd down, really good in the kicking game. I mean, tough to find a bunch of holes with this Miami football team right now.
The competition isn't the greatest the rest of the way until we get to the ACC title game. Singleton on the return past the 25. Again, Duke at Georgia Tech, Wake at home at Syracuse. Syracuse just got destroyed by Pitt the other night. Aero coverage provided by Goodyear, ready for every challenge the road game may bring. Are you ready for the road? Goodyear, more driven.
We had Clemson a few weeks ago at Wake. And I think that, and we'll see, there's a lot of football left to be played. Pitt's still undefeated. They got SMU next week. SMU's winning at Duke right now. And they're clearly going to play a factor in this. But, I mean, it does feel like right now, Clemson, Miami, the best two teams in the ACC. And as you referenced earlier, they don't play in the regular season. Definitely feels like a matchup we could see in Charlotte coming up in December.
Brock Glenn back to throw. He's back in a quarterback. And being chased, he throws it away. And what's interesting is the fact they don't play each other in the regular season increases the chances that both win out of both making the playoff, regardless of what happens in the ACC championship. Because with the expanded 12-team playoff, you have the top 4 ranked conference champions that get a bye. You have the group of 5 champ as well in there, and then you have at-large bids for everybody.
If both those teams win out, they're both going to get in. I feel confident in making that statement. And I think what'll be interesting is if SMU's only a 1-loss team, they only lost to BYU, is it possible that the ACC could get a 3rd team? And a lot of this still has to play itself out. Pitt is, by the way, undefeated. They will play SMU next week. They will also play Clemson later on this season, so a lot still have to play out. But I mean, I think that the ACC is in a great spot for 2, and you could make a realistic case for 3 potentially, depending on what else happens around college football.
Well, you got Iowa State and BYU in the Big 12 that keep winning. All of a sudden now there's a case maybe for more than 1 in the Big 12.
Which only adds intrigue to the rest of the season as we lead up to a 12-team playoff.
A 3rd down and long. Glenn from the pocket in trouble and sacked. Penalty marker down. Sacked by
holding
C.J. Clark.
Number 63. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Well, this is really good off of both edges. I mean, guys just working. Edge collapses here. This is a good game. Up and underneath. Has really nowhere for Brock Glenn to go with the football. It's Mesidor off one side. See Bain continue to work. Good coordinated pass rush all the way across.
And at this point, a 4th down and 16. A little surprised, but I think Mike Norvell also realizes that if we go for it and don't get it, Miami clearly wants to put the foot to the throat. They're going to go try to score, and it's been bad enough. So let's just punt it. Joseph yields it on his 27, and flag. Well, great arm by the back judge. He threw that flag 35 yards. He threw it about 20 yards over the players where the actual penalty occurred. Maybe Florida State should sign him.
During the kick, holding receiving team number 29. 10-yard penalty. 1st down.
All right, so here's, if the playoffs started today, what the 12-team bracket would look like. And again, you got the top 4 conference champions getting the bye. So right now it's Iowa State and Miami in the Big 12 and the ACC. So you got, Boise State is your group of 5 champ. You have 2 ACC, 2 Big 12. I mean, somebody really good. If this is how it ends up, which again, a lot of time, but you're going to have a great SEC or Big 10 team getting left out. And really, that's what's going to be interesting is that team like, Ole Miss, which still obviously a lot of games left, but if they somehow win out, is a 2-loss Ole Miss team better than a 1-loss Penn State team?
Let the debating begin, Dave Pasch. Because that's what it'll be. It'll be spirited debate.
Oh, what a run! Damian Martinez breaking free. And out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Now Martinez was stopped for all intents and purposes, but he just kept the feet moving for 53 yards.
This is reminiscent to what we saw last week. Look at all the linemen, everybody just continuing to push. That pile keeps moving. Little help from Inez Cooper. His right guard kind of pulls him out. Martinez hits the sidelines. And a massive run, and one that I can assure you Mario Cristobal is going to absolutely love. It's back-to-back weeks where we've seen this offensive line continue through the whistle push, and his running backs continuing to churn out yards.
Close calls, dangerous living by Miami the last 3 games, but not tonight. Ward in trouble, though, and gets rid of that as there's pressure in his face. Aaron Hester in the backfield for FSU.
Smart by Cam Ward. Pressure coming immediately outside the pocket. Gets that pass out in front of the line of scrimmage. And as you touched on it earlier, they're still throwing the football. Something tells me 45-3 might have been brought up a couple times throughout the course of the week in the preparation. That obviously being the score from 2 years ago when Florida State came in here and got after Miami.
When you asked Mario Cristobal what this rivalry meant to him, I thought at first he thought maybe that you weren't done with your question. He just stared for about 30 seconds as Miami runs the ball here to Martinez. He paused and paused and paused. And I thought, did the Zoom freeze? Did he not think you were done? And then he started. And it was, when we had Ray Lewis voice our tease, what he said to us, you could have used that as a tease to get you fired up for the game. And I think in part because he didn't like to be embarrassed to begin with, certainly not by his arch rival, being a guy that grew up here, played here, coached here many times, and now the head man after what was done to him 2 years ago here.
And he said it just means so much, this rivalry. It's the embodiment of bad blood, physicality, intensity. He'd say there's a football respect and appreciation between these two programs, but you could tell he was ready for this game tonight.
Another great run after contact by Damian Martinez. First down to the 12. And that takes us to the 2-minute timeout. Miami on its way to 8-0 for the first time since 2017. Tonight's Players Spotlight brought to you by Royal Caribbean. A touchdown catch for Cam Ward on the last possession, but for the first time all season, no touchdown passes in a game. In fact, he's had 2 or more in each game, and in 3 times has had 4 or more. What seems like the right thing to do if you're Miami at this point is to just take a knee a few times, but it does not seem like Miami's going to do that.
I don't think that's in Mario's playbook tonight. Dave Pash.
Up 22. Gonna run it and into the end zone. Damian Martinez with a walk-in touchdown to make it 35-7.
Well, this has really been the story of this ball game. Their ability to run the football downhill and right down Main Street. Interior blocking for Miami tonight has been outstanding. Nice big hole. A stroll to the end zone by Damian Martinez. He is having his biggest night as a Miami Hurricane here against Florida State.
And you're good with that?
Hey, man, this, I mean, look, this is a rivalry game. You knew going in that this was possible, right? I mean, when it was 45-3 last time, they line up and run the football. As a defense, you got to stop them. I mean, you got to go out and stop them. And here's the other thing I will just say, like, could he have taken a knee and it's fine? Sure. But at the end of the year, if everybody's looking at resumes,
it's fair.
And, you know, you got to impress the most you possibly can.
Yep, the more points you score, the better you look with a committee. It's understandable from that perspective. Let's check in with Taylor.
I'll tell you what I'm hearing on the sideline, and the message to the players is we do not slow down. We keep going. There is no love lost between these two schools, and they do not forget what happened 2 years ago. And let's not forget, Mario Cristobal has never beaten Florida State as the head coach of this program.
Yep, year 3 for Cristobal. Trying to get Miami to 8-0. Keep in mind, no ACC championships. It's their 21st year in the ACC. They won the Big East back in 2001. That's their last conference title. That's also the last time they won a national championship. They've only been to the ACC title game once. And 4 games left in the regular season after tonight. 2 home against Duke and Wake, 2 on the road at Georgia Tech and Syracuse. Touchback will come out to the 25 here for Florida State. Clemson plays Louisville next week. Duke plays SMU, or Pitt plays SMU next week. SMU's beating Duke right now.
It's going to be fun down the stretch. Virginia Tech also. I believe Clemson goes to Virginia Tech here in a few weeks. I mean, I don't have to remind Miami fans or people who've shown the highlight tonight how close Virginia Tech was to winning right here in this building not very long ago. It's an interesting team with just 1 loss in ACC play, and a lot of expectations with Kyron Drones back at quarterback coming into the season, starting to play their best football.
Glenn on first down, throws low, incomplete. So you've seen Clemson in person, You've seen Miami in person. Who's the better team right now?
Well, I think it's a coin flip right now, Dave. I really do. Kate Klubnik's playing so well. The physicality I saw from Clemson's offensive line has been much better than it has been in recent years. That's a tough one to call. I mean, I think it could go either way. I think that's what's going to make so much fun here down the stretch, especially if we get that matchup in an ACC championship.
And don't sleep on Pitt, the way the Panthers are playing right now, to the sideline. And it's caught by LaWayne McCoy.
Surprised you didn't call me out for kind of being on the fence there.
I'm with you.
I just think it's close. I think it's
really
very close.
Yeah, it's really hard to say. If you just judge Clemson off the Georgia game, you're going to say Miami, but they look like a different team since then. Right. The All-State playoff predictor has Miami with an 87% chance, and Clemson, I'm actually surprised it's that low, because their 1 loss is against the number 2 team in the country that right now they only have a 40% chance of making it.
Big hit for Marley Cook on Brock Glenn. Nice inside pass rush. He made the Florida State quarterback feel it. Man, as Taylor reported just moments ago, Mario Cristobal, he's got this team playing to the very, very end. Rough night for Brock Glenn in this Florida State offense.
And a decision for Mike Norvell going forward. If DJ Uiagalelei is weeks away, do you go back to Brock Glenn, making his 3rd straight start, and get a run here and get the first down, or do you go with Luke Kromenhoek, the true freshman who had some good moments in this game? Obviously, you're not going to make a bowl game at this point. It's all about trying to finish strong. And we talked with Coach Norvell this week. He said, look, spirits are still high. Guys are still fighting. And we saw that tonight.
Yep. Especially on the defensive side. They gave all they could, spirited effort, limiting Cam Ward for a large part of this game.
And there's a good throw by Glenn. And Amari Williams down in the seam makes the grab.
True freshman tight end. Nice job going up and getting this football right up the seam. Good ball here by Brock Glenn. Concentration. Now we know in his face.
Glenn throwing it downfield. Boy, a ton of contact that time on LaWayne McCoy by O.J. Frederick. So Maryland in 1956 was the last team following an undefeated regular season to go 1-7 the following year. 70 years since we've seen what's occurred in Tallahassee over the last 12 months. Went over the middle. Incomplete. Inside a minute to go.
You asked a question a second ago about DJU when he's back and when he's healthy. I think you got to continue to figure out what you have in Brock Glenn and Luke Kromenhoek. You know, you should always put out the best players to give yourself a chance to win, but I do think that those guys, you need to continue to try to develop them and figure out what the options are moving forward in the next season.
Glenn on 3rd down and 10. In trouble, steps up and runs. Stays in bounds close to a first down. And it does feel like in the portal era, you get a good quarterback, you're going to win. You make a mistake with the portal, you're not going to win. And that really is on display in this game. Cam Ward was, arguably the top quarterback in the portal. He ends up at Miami. DJ Oyunglele had been up and down in his career. Florida State thought that he would be the guy to keep this train on the tracks, and he didn't play very well, then got hurt. And the backups behind him, very young and inexperienced, as Glenn throws it away here.
It's not all on that. I mean, there's other components. I mean, offensive line, lack of running game, receivers dropping passes, a defensive line that's been good but maybe not as elite as advertised heading into the season. I mean, it's not all just on that, but that position hasn't elevated everyone else, as we've seen that be the exact case here at Miami with the impact Cam Ward has had.
Bottom line is, it's quite shocking to see what we saw with Florida State.
What hasn't happened in 70 years, as the graphic showed. I mean, I think that tells the story.
Glenn, his pass broken up, and that close as a flag is thrown to a college football playoff berth last year, to one win through October the next season.
Pass interference, defense number 7. Penalties, an automatic first down.
And knowing Mike Norvell, he's not going to let up on the players. And these players, I don't think, will let up either, just based on everybody we've spoken with, the players and the coaches, about the character of these guys. They're going to keep fighting. The question is, when you start thinking about the future, and you've got to figure out what you're doing at quarterback, to your point, but it is more than that. And how deep does it go in terms of the lack of depth at certain positions and how that could impact next year? Almost feels like Florida State's back where it was a few years ago when Norvell took over. That pass through the hands of McCoy incomplete. And what Norvell inherited wasn't good, and he did turn it around, but that turnaround was short-lived. And I'm sure there are a lot of Florida State fans wondering, is this just an anomaly this one season with what we've seen at the quarterback position, or is it back to where it was when he took the job and he was trying to get the roster better from what was left to him? Glenn over the middle, incomplete, trying to hit Portier. And the first 2 years, 8-13 record, but then 23-4 in 2022 and 2023. So perhaps this year just is an anomaly.
We're going to find out. One that I don't think, safely say, no one saw coming to this degree. And where does Mike Norvell and this program go from here? All eyes will continue to be on this Seminoles program.
On the rollout, Glenn has a touchdown pass to Malik Benson. Again, FSU showing some fight, not quitting, going down the field. There's some good throws from Brock Glenn and a touchdown.
Yeah, great throw up the seam to Mari Williams, and now Malik Benson, his first touchdown reception as a Florida State Seminole, the transfer from Alabama. Put 6 on the board.
Ryan Fitzgerald on for the point after. Make it 36-14, but Florida State will be 1-7. Miami will go to 8-0. Still a couple of one-loss teams ahead of the Hurricanes. They've got Duke coming here next week. Don't know just yet. Kick time for that, network for that. Obviously, all these games will be on the ESPN networks. At Georgia Tech, Wake Forest here at home, and then at Syracuse. 58th toughest remaining strength of schedule according to ESPN FPI.
That Duke game will be fascinating. I think Miami knows that head coach of the Blue Devils pretty well, as he spent time here as a coordinator and as a head coach. And Duke's been playing pretty well in a tussle tonight. They're at home with SMU.
You still would have to think, though, that in these 4 games, Miami's probably favored heavily in all of them.
They will be. Absolutely.
And Cam Ward, just based on all the stuff we were talking about, him and his character and playing with a chip on his shoulder, He threw at one point in this game. He took the tablet and chucked it. He was not happy with the offense's inability to score in the red zone. So just another way for him to motivate himself for the stretch run. Statistically, and again, I'm using that word statistically as a qualifier, it's his worst game. He still played well, but the numbers nowhere near what they were the first 7 games of the year.
No question. I think some of that you got to give credit to Florida State's defense. Secondary did a nice job. And Miami took full advantage of what they're able to do on the ground tonight by running for 224 yards.
Now, instead of an onside kick, just a pooch kick downfield, and Restrepo with the fair catch. Well, we got another Heisman candidate coming up next year on ESPN. Shedeur Sanders of Colorado. And Travis Hunter, of course, does so many different things. Dylan Gabriel's got Oregon #1 in the country. Ashton Jeanty, the outstanding running back from Boise State. Kate Klubnik in the conversation now as well.
Ashton Jeanty, Boise State, they got a big win last night. His numbers were down a little bit. Still went for 100 yards and had to go ahead touchdown late in that ball game. Dylan Gabriel lit it up there today. Kate Klubnik's just been on fire with that offense. And I hope Travis Hunter's able to stay healthy. He's been banged up the last couple of games. Not pictured that Shedeur Sanders. He's been excellent this year. They're running that offense for Colorado as the Buffaloes and Cincinnati on as soon as we get off the air out there in Boulder.
So Ross Poffenbarger in the game at quarterback, and they're just going to run it here on the final play. And Miami goes to 8-0 for the first time since 2017 when it started the year 10-0 and made it all the way to the ACC title game for the first time. It ends a 3-game losing streak to rival Florida State. Final score, Canes 36, Florida State 14. Cincinnati, Colorado coming up next. For Dusty Dvorak, Taylor McGregor, our entire crew, I'm Dave Pasch saying so long from the U. Now to Boulder. Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, Quint Kesnick.